Hey everyone, TJ Hernandez here with RosterCoach.com, and this is the Week 10 GPP Value Report, where each week I go through the featured contests on FanDuel and DraftKings and cover the payout structures of each of these games to help people with game selection and using this information to help you reach your goals, depending on whether you're just looking for a big first place prize or if you are grinding full time. This should help you pick your games depending on what those goals are. And ultimately, even if you are just looking for a bigger prize, looking at something like this can help you save money straight to your bottom line just by picking games that are going to give more money to the prize pool or take less money out. So on FanDuel this week, we don't have a lot of big changes. Everything looks pretty close to last week. So here we're starting with games up to the $10 level. These big contests, pretty much the same as last week. The Sunday Million, same exact structure. We see a $300,000 first place prize out of a $1.5 million prize pool. So 20% of the money is going to first place. If you're playing lower stakes games and you want a shot at $20,000 or $40,000, but don't necessarily want to play that huge contest, there is the $4.44 buy and snap, which is offering $20,000 to first place. Just 20% of the field being paid in that one. And then the rush at the $5 level, $40,000 to first place, but again, about 20% of the field being paid out there. So if we're looking at games up to the $10 level, that's about as low as a payout structure you're going to get, at least in terms of the field. We see some of these smaller contests like the Huddle, which is a low rate 10% rate game, paying out 25% of the field. The Snap at the $2 level, the Pancake Block at the 25-cent level, both paying out 25% of the field. As always, we have this 16% rate below $7, so $5 and lower 16%. 25-cent buying game is 16.5%. So as always, if you can qualify for the Huddle at the $3 level, which excludes experienced players, that is the game to play with just a 10% rake. But again, if you're looking for more upside, you're really going to have to sacrifice some of that game structure. The one game that does stand out in terms of upside with a decent structure is the Spike at the $5 level. $10,000 going to first in that one. Almost 22% of the field being paid, less than 10% of the money going to first, and you double your money if you min cash. That's a single entry contest, so if you are on a limited bankroll, you're at the very least on an even playing field with the rest of the entries. So that's a decent contest to look at. But all of these other games, pretty much what we've seen across the board on FanDuel. Looking here at contests on FanDuel priced above $10, almost no shift at all in the structure of these games. A couple $1,000s here and there in terms of prize pool, but the structure is very similar to last week. We do see the rake drop, of course, after we get up to that $50 level. But if you're looking for a big first place prize, we have the Bomb at the $33 level, the Blitz at the $166 level, the Monster at the $333 level. All of those contests offering $100,000 to first place, all priced, all structured pretty similarly. About 20% of the field being paid, with just over 20% of the money going to first place. If you are looking for a little bit of upside, but not necessarily $100,000 first place prize, a couple more single entry contests. We have the Sweep at the $30 level, the Cover 2 at the $100 level. Both of those games paying out about 20% of the field, just over, but a much smaller percentage of the money going to first place than those contests with $100,000 up top. So if you're up in these stakes looking for balance, those are the games I would look at. Otherwise, if you are trying to get a good payout structure in terms of not too steep, you're not going to have a chance at much upside. We see all these first place prizes pretty much $10,000 or less. So pretty par for the course on what we've seen from FanDuel so far this year. Moving on to DraftKings, at the lower stakes games, the one contest that has a big first place prize is still the play action. That prize pool shifted a little bit now, $1.35 million prize pool with $100,000 going to first. Really big field there, over 500,000 entries, 26% of the field being paid, which is pretty on par with this buy-in level. Just over 7% of the money going to first place. The contests that I want to focus on for DraftKings this week are these celebration contests. DraftKings added these contests into the mix at the small stakes. We see this $110,000 mini main event celebration, which is a single entry contest. So all these big single entry contests on DraftKings. What happened is they added these, but it pulled some money from some of the games that were offering decent prize pools. Eliminated a couple games as well. So I'll focus on those. The structure of the other games, if they're notable, I'll point out. But this main event, the mini, is a $4 buy-in, option to win $10,000 if you take that down. Relative to the games at this stakes, it is a steeper payout structure. We see 24% of the field being paid, while the rest of these contests at these buy-in levels are about 25% or higher, and almost 10% of the money going to first, 9.1% of the money. So not a great structure there, but that's kind of come to be expected on DraftKings at these with these big contests and big entry size fields. And looking at the games priced above $10, quite a few of these single entry celebration main events. We have the Fair Catch at the $12 level, the main event celebration, which is the big contest, at the $40 level, the Spy, the single entry at the $100 level, and the Check Down Pass, which is really new, really changing up things here at the $777 level. So the Fair Catch celebration at the $12 level, $15,000 to first place. But all of these contests, we see less than 25% of the field being paid. And in that Fair Catch, we have 13.4% of the money going to first place. So that's really on par with these higher stakes games. When we get up to the $100, $150 level and above, that's about what you'll see. But at the $12 level, we don't usually expect that. At the $40 level, the main event celebration, again, relatively small percentage of the field, second smallest percentage of the field we see being paid out of all the featured contests this week. So just 21%, with 10% of the money going to first place. But again, that's a single entry game, so we got a chance to turn $40 into 20 grand there. The Spy at the $100 level, 23% of the field, almost 24% of the field being paid out, $15,000 up top in that game. And then the Check Down Pass celebration, that's the one that really shook things up at these higher stakes games. $150,000 prize pool. That money has to come from somewhere else. So we see the Stiff Arm at the $555. That's down to just 40 entries. That game was offering anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 first place prize. Now just down to $5,000 first place prize. But the Check Down at the $777 level is giving $25,000 to first place. A field of just 214 people. So pretty manageable field. But that Stiff Arm at the $555, we saw almost 28% of the field being paid, which was making it one of my favorite contests of the week. This celebration game, just 23% of the field being paid. But again, if you're looking for upside, a relatively small field, that's about as good as it's going to get. So those are the games that people are really going to be looking at DraftKings this week. But again, they're not offering the best structure. But if you want upside outside of the millionaire, save maybe the Power Sweep or the Wildcat, those are the games that people are going to be looking at this week. And the single entry aspect makes it pretty interesting, just because we don't get to see a lot of these big prize pool single entry games, especially on DraftKings. So I think people are going to be drawn to those games, and it shrinks the field and puts people, even with a little bit of a smaller bankroll, on a even playing field, which is always nice if you don't have the bankroll to max enter some of these other games. So that's what I'm looking at for this week. As always, if you have any questions, hit me up here or on Twitter. Again, this is TJ Hernandez with RosterCoach.com. Thank you for watching.